At first, at 11 rallies breaking out in Cambridge and Somerville earlier today, people got together in support of the Turkish Tufts University student who was detained by ICE agents near her home in Somerville. Thanks for joining us on this Thursday night. I'm Priscilla Casper.
And I'm Colton Bradford. Now, tonight, we now know why Rumeysa Ozturk was transferred to a Louisiana detention center despite a court order to keep her here in Massachusetts. A court filing by the U.S. Attorney's Office says she had already been moved out of the state by the time that order was issued.
And our Jericho Tran joining us live tonight from Somerville, where one of today's rallies was held. Jericho, what are people calling for?
Well, today, ralliers called on the mayor and elected officials to divest from companies that support the presence of Israel in Palestine. It's very similar to a topic that Ozturk addressed in an op-ed in the Tufts University paper before her arrest and detainment. However, there were also concerned residents here today that say that divestment is not a viable solution. Tense moments outside the doors of Somerville City Hall as hundreds called for the mayor and elected officials to divest from companies supporting the presence of Israel in Palestine.
It is an ask to divest from companies that are complicit in the occupation, apartheid, and genocide.
The call fueled by the arrest of Tufts University student Rumeysa Ozturk on Tuesday. This video shows federal agents taking the student into custody shortly before transferring Ozturk to the South Louisiana ICE processing center.
The terror in her face and her voice, it's terrible.
The PhD student and Fulbright scholar's visa was terminated after the Department of Homeland Security claimed Ozturk engaged in activities in support of Hamas.
We gave you a visa to come and study and get a degree, not to become a social activist that tears up our university campuses.
The question of whether Somerville businesses should divest is similar to a question posed by Ozturk, who wrote an op-ed for the university's paper calling for Tufts to divest from companies directly tied to Israel.
It is not a coincidence at all. The conversation about boycotting is an essential American right.
The motion to allow this question on the municipal election ballot assembled a crowd of people who filled City Hall chambers and spilled out into the street.
We are calling for our city to take our public money, our tax dollars, and stop being complicit in Israel's genocide and apartheid and occupation.
This is not what's in the best interest of our community. The Jewish community and the Jewish and Israeli residents of Somerville just want to live in peace side by side with our neighbors.
So definitely a clash of opinions inside of City Hall today. Now, that motion was placed on file. 10% of voter signatures are needed to get that question back on the ballot. In Somerville, Jericho Tran, NBC 10 Boston.
Jericho, thank you. And those of you at home, stay with us for continuing coverage on this story as it continues to develop. And remember, you can get caught up to date on all the latest updates on this story here and other news stories right now by heading to our website at NBC10Boston.com.